everyone! We are Group 11. My name is Rheiza Althea C. Sarmenta, and my partner's name is Alcantara. And we will be discussing the famously known book of Sir Thomas S. Kuhn, which is entitled The Structure of Scientific Revolution. But before anything else, let us first meet and get to know Sir Thomas Kuhn. Marilyn, do the honor.
So who is Thomas Samuel Kuhn? Thomas Kuhn was born on July 18, 1922 in Cincinnati, Ohio, United States, but he died on June 17, 1996 in Cambridge, Mass. Kuhn earned bachelor's and master's degree in physics at Harvard University, but he obtained his PhD in history of science. Because of this, he wrote his famous book, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions, that was published in 1962.
It all started with the question, is scientists critical? Others believe that scientists are always critical. Critical means in a way that they have never-ending question. Hanggat may napapansin silang mga bagay, i-criticize nila iyon. But not for Sir Thomas Kuhn. He contradicted this idea. Since he is one of the most commonly known historian of science, he believed that there is a time where scientists are critical and time where they are not. And he saw this pattern of alternating events, kung saan sa tulong nito, we will further understand kung bakit nasabi ni Thomas Kuhn na hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon critical ang mga scientists.
The book will mostly revolve in Kuhn's phases of science. So to give you a quick sneak peek of what we are going to discuss, let's look at the process of how science progresses and changes. So first is the pre-paradigmatic phase, followed by the normal science. From normal science, the scientists will go through a crisis which will lead to scientific revolutions. And after scientific revolutions, this will be the new or the normal science. And the cycle repeats on. Sa mga susunod na slides, aalamin natin kung ano nga ba ang ibig sabihin ng bawat phase at kung kailan ba talaga nagiging critical o hindi ang mga scientists.
Before we proceed to Sir Kuhn's phase of science, let us first discuss the paradigm, which is the highlight of his book. So, what is paradigm? Paradigm is all theories, concepts, basic framework of assumptions, principles, methods that are well accepted in the scientific community. Lahat ng bagay, teorya, and everything that scientific discipline takes for granted is what could cause a paradigm.
First, we have pre-paradigmatic phase. As the prefix pre or pre suggests, the pre-paradigmatic phase refers to the time before there is an acknowledged paradigm. Pre-paradigmatic phase is also known as immature period, since scientists are constantly debating over the fundamentals of each sciences. Tinatawag ito na immature period dahil yung mga scientists gusto nila na yung mga proposed ideas and theories nila yung magiging tama or matatanggap ng scientific community. So, this is a time when there is no universally accepted paradigm. Furthermore, pre-paradigmatic phase only happens once. Dahil kapag nakapag-establish na ang mga scientists ng isang paradigm, nagiging normal science na ito. So, ano nga ba ang normal science?
So, after the pre-paradigmatic phase, this is wherein normal science will occur. And ano nga ba ang normal science? It is a process of research that is mainly based from one or more past scientific achievements, which some specific community, scientific community rather, recognize for a time as contributing the foundation for further practice. This is also the phase where a paradigm is widely accepted and scientists are not so being critical about it. Also, para na rin ito yung cooling phase. Kasi dito na yung mga developed theories ng mga scientists ay accepted na. Kaya hindi na sila masyadong nag-aaway-away, nagde-debate at kinikriticize yung isa't isa kasi nga mga natanggap na yung proposed paradigm nila about a certain thing.
Thomas Kuhn related normal science as puzzle solving. Why? Because the picture is predetermined. You just have to make the pieces fit and interlock with each other. Just like normal science, you have a paradigm that you can take for granted. So for example, bumili ka ng isang puzzle at may idea ka na kung anong kalalabasan ng picture or ng puzzle na yan. And para siyang normal science, na kung saan mapapredict mo na kung ano yung magiging result ng research or puzzle mo dahil may paradigm or pagbabasihan ka na. So ang goal mo as a puzzle solver or a scientist or researcher is buuin siya at mapatunayan mo na tama ka. Ito rin yung phase na kung saan hindi kinwestiyon ng mga scientist yung paradigm dahil naniniwala sila na sapat na yung knowledge and yung facts na given para mabuo yung puzzle piece or yung research na yan. So, according to Chapter 4, part of the answer has already been developed. To scientists, at least, the results gained in normal research are significant because they add to the scope and precision with which the paradigm can be applied. But hindi ibig sabihin na kapag accepted na yung paradigm or nasa normal science tayo, ay palaging mag-fit yung problems at bagong discoveries sa paradigms na yan. At tinatawag itong anomalies. So, anomalies are new scientific problems and questions that cannot be explained and solved within the existing paradigm. So, kapag na-accumulate yung mga anomalies or yung mga problems na hindi na nagtutugma sa may current paradigm, nagiging crisis na ito. So, Althea, what is crisis?
During this time, reconstructing the previous normal science may be proposed to allow the observations to fit. And it could be in the form of modifications and alterations of the theories in normal science. Sa madaling salita, ito yung time na if the puzzles don't fit each other, then scientists will need to find a new puzzle that it would fit. Pwede natin itong ihilan tulad sa love, na yung crisis ay parang pag-ibig. Bakit mo ipipilit at ipagsisiksikan ang sarili mo sa taong ayaw naman sa'yo? Eh, ang dami naman diyang tao na handa kang tanggapin ng buong buo. Kaya if yung mga pieces of puzzles rather, is ayaw talaga mag-fit sa isang frame, then maybe it's time na humanap ng place where it would fit perfectly. Parang ikaw. Kung ayaw sa'yo ng taong yun at hindi niya matanggap kung ano ka, then maybe hindi siya yung para sa'yo. Kailangan mo lang maghanap or maghintay ng tao na handa kong tanggapin ng buong buo. Then, after the crisis occurred, we will now go to the scientific revolution. A scientific revolution is the change of paradigm. In this phase, the paradigm shift will occur and the development of new paradigm takes place. Dito na yung stage na ini-execute na yung proposed modification and alteration sa paradigm na nabuo sa crisis period. And kapag na-apply na ito sa paradigm, magkakaroon na ng pagbabago which will lead to scientific revolution. Kung saan may bago ng phase yung paradigm. But, take note that Kuhn also believes that the paradigm shift is not entirely a choice between equally credible theories.
To further understand the scientific revolution, let's have an example. The geocentric model was replaced with the heliocentric model, in which the planets are understood to orbit the Sun in elliptical orbits. As you can see in the picture on the left, the geocentric model states that the Sun and other planets are revolving around the Earth, while in heliocentric model, the planets in the solar system are orbiting around the Sun. So ang normal or traditional science natin ay ang geocentric model, and after a series of crises and research, nagdulot ito ng scientific revolution. So, after a scientific revolution, this is where the paradigm shift will arise. Just like in our example earlier, nagkaroon ng pagbabago sa pananaw ng mga astronomers at mga siyentipiko. Kung dati, naniniwala sila na ang araw at ibang mga planeta ay umiikot sa mundo, ngayon ay napatunayan na ang mundo ang umiikot sa araw. Ngayon, nagkakaroon ng pagbabago sa mga facts o mga knowledge na tinatanggap at tinuturo sa atin na tinatawag nating paradigm shift. And paradigm shift only means resuming of normal science. The scientific revolution becomes the normal science or new normal science at umuulit-ulit lang ang cycle na ito.
Summarizing Sir Thomas Kuhn's phase of science, we can determine that the first stage is the pre-paradigmatic phase, kung saan dito ay wala pang nagaganap na accepting of theories. At dahil doon, nagde-debate pa yung mga scientists kung kanino nga ba yung tama at mas katanggap-tanggap na paradigm. And then after that phase, we will now go to the normal science, kung saan dito na yung accepted phase. Because theories of some scientific community are widely accepted na. But, hindi ibig sabihin na tapos na yung paradigm, yun na yun. Because we will never know. Baka may biglang mag-occur na anomalies. Kaya magkakaroon ng crisis period, kung saan ito yung modification era. Kasi dito nabubuo yung mga improvements na kailangan gawin sa isang paradigm. And after mabuo ng modification, kailangan i-execute na yon. Kaya mayroong scientific revolution na phase, kung saan ito yung shifting phase, kung saan ina-apply mo na yung mga alteration, kaya unti-unti nang ding nagbabago yung paradigm at nagsishift na into new paradigm. Kaya may last phase din tayo, kung saan babalik tayo sa normal science, kung saan ina-accept na yung new paradigm na nabuo from scientific revolution. Kaya nagiging normal science na siya kasi accepted na ulit ang new paradigm na nabuo.
So, pagkatapos ng scientific revolution, anong nangyayari? Nagbabago ba talaga ang mundo dahil sa paradigm shifts o hindi? Malalaman natin ito sa chapter 10 ng libro ni Thomas Kuhn, entitled Revolutions as Changes of Worldview, wherein he talks about what comes next after there is a paradigm shift. For the summary, let's hear it from Althea.
Revolutions as changes in worldview. Through examining the records from the past research, the historian of science has attempted to claim that when paradigms change, the world itself changes as well. Accompanied by a new paradigm, scientists acquire new instruments and places. And during revolutions, scientists have seen different things while looking with familiar instruments in places they had looked on before. It is like the world has shifted to another planet, wherein familiar objects seems unfamiliar. That is why, at the time of revolution, the normal scientific tradition changes, as well as the scientist's perception as well. Kapag nagkaroon daw ng pagbabago sa paradigm, kapalakid din nito ay ang pagbabago din ng mundo natin. During the process ng scientific revolution, mas marami pa daw ng mga bagay na natutuklasan ang mga scientists, mga bagay na hindi nila nakita noon, pero nakikita na nila ngayon. Kaya nga parang nadibago daw sila sa mundo, at yung mga bagay na tila hindi na katulad ng dati. Kaya during scientific revolution, as the normal science changes into new paradigm, kaakibat din ito yung pagbabago ng mga pananaw ng mga scientists.
One of Kuhn's example is when you put goggles fitted with an inverting lenses. Ihalin tulad natin yung inverting lenses sa scientific revolutions. So, pagkatapos mo isuot yung inverted lenses, makikita mo yung mundo na nakabaligtad and para siyang normal science dahil kapag nagkaroon ng scientific revolution, nagbabago rin yung pananaw mo or ng researcher within a subject or topic at matter. Pero katulad nga sa inverted lenses experiment, nakakapag-adapt yung viewer or yung scientist sa changes na nagiging normal na sa kanya ito, na para bang nakikita niya yung mundo bago pa niya isuot yung inverting lenses.
Though the world does not change with the change of paradigm, the scientist afterward works in a different world. Sir William Herschel's discovery of Uranus is an example of revolutions as changes in worldview. And during of this experiment of him, maraming mga bagay na natuklasan na hindi niya inaakala. In 1769, the first attempt, one of the best observer of this experiment saw a star during that time in 4 successive nights. That is why Uranus has been entitled as a star during those years. But later on, after 12 years, which was during March 1781, Herschel himself observed the same object with a much improved telescope, and he announced that instead of a star, he saw a comet. But later on, in that same year, Anders Lexell suggests that it was not a comet, and instead, it is a planet. Ang pinaka-point lang nito na kahit natawaging star, comet, or planet pa, yung Uranus, it is as it is lang. Nagbabari lang siya kung paano sila tinitingnan ng mga scientists. Bale, the thing does not change itself, but only the scientist's perception on how they see it. It can be called a star, comet, or planet, but only the perception changes and not Uranus itself.
Before we end the discussion, let's have a review. In Kuhn's phases of science, it will start with the pre-paradigmatic phase. It is the phase before a paradigm is established, and it will only happen once. Followed by the normal science, when there is an accepted paradigm that is used to expand the knowledge within a certain field through research. Third, we move on to the crisis, wherein there are multiple anomalies that occur which scientists cannot solve or match within the existing paradigm. The last part of the cycle before it returns to normal science is called scientific revolution. It is when new paradigms emerge. Take note that after a scientific revolution, the world itself doesn't change, but only the perceptions of a scientist. I am Marilee Alcantara.
And I am Rheiza Althea, Sarmenta.
And we are the Group 11 in Philosophy 1 from University of the Philippines Diliman Extension Program in Pampanga, BSBM 1, Block D.